Hey everyone, welcome to Give It a Go or No. This is a new series for the channel wherein I dive into the newest games releasing and give you my impressions and recommendations on whether or not a game is really worth your hard-earned money. As prices for everything within the gaming market continue to rise, it's important now more than ever to be judicious and mindful of where we invest. I'm hoping to give you a good honest evaluation of whether or not it's worth it at list price to purchase the games that I review. This is one of the new directions I'm taking the channel in, and I really do appreciate you all being patient with me while I find my niche. For our inaugural episode, I thought I'd jump into the game my 2-year-old was most excited about ever since he saw the trailer for it, LEGO 2K Drive. Now the title really tells you everything you need to know. This is a LEGO game brought to you by 2K Studios, wherein you drive. Now there's definitely more to it than that, but yeah, broad strokes, that's really the game. Review and recorded footage are all from PlayStation 5. Now, Drive is being pitched as more of an arcade-style racer with some open-world exploration, a linear plotline marking out your story campaign, as well as various side quests, tasks, and its biggest allure for LEGO fans everywhere, the garage, which allows you to construct and edit your vehicles to your heart's content. In my opinion, this is hands down where the game shines the most, but I'll get into that later. Alright, visually speaking, this game really does well for what it is. I'd say it's surprising, but in my experience, most current generation LEGO games really do impress when it comes to how things look. The entire world is bright and colorful, and there's lots of contrast. They did a phenomenal job, at least in the PlayStation 5 version, with lighting and shadow, both in how they look, as well as how well they transform between environments. And this is key because you move fast in this game, like just really fast. The particle effects you encounter as you bust through LEGO-built terrain are clear and snappy, and the effects from the various power-ups, Mario Kart-style weapons you obtain, and boost drive animations all really pop. But there's lots of bloom and color and sharpness that genuinely makes you stop and appreciate just how good it looks, not to mention how well it all comes together. It really is a cohesive look. There's really nothing that really stands out as disjointed or out of place. And this seems to come across as a seamless transition as you go from kicking up huge clumps of dirt and grass in your four-wheeler to the bright blue water spraying up at you as your little ATV suddenly transforms into a speedboat tearing through the river without missing a beat. So these transitions, I think, are a really neat feature in LEGO 2K Drive. They come complete with an ultra-cool clicking noise every time you do it, and these are set to switch automatically depending on the terrain you find yourself on. Now, you can change this default by altering manual switching in the settings menu. I do appreciate how customizable your transforming vehicle loadouts can be as well. There are 3 types of vehicles in LEGO 2K Drive. There are street racers, off-road, and aquatic. Now, each one of these, each loadout will consist of one of each, and you can have up to 3 loadouts at any given time. There's a handful of vehicles to choose from at outset, but playing through the story campaign and competing in the other feature races, tasks, and quests unlock many more, which are, honestly, a lot of them are really creatively themed and sometimes pretty funny. No spoilers, but I found myself in genuine awe at some of the models that I unlocked throughout the game. You can get through the rest of the game with these unlocked pre-builts, but hey, why limit yourself? The garage, which is accessible in both various locations throughout the in-game world, as well as right in the main menu, is a perfectly enclosed playground for your imagination. You can build pretty much anything you'd like with 4 wheels or fins, from sleek, hyper-realistic sports cars to outlandishly huge juggernauts, and pretty much everything in between. Now, I was a huge LEGO kid growing up, and once I got the swing of things, as far as how the garage functioned, I spent hours, and I mean hours, building, editing, testing out the different variations of cars, trucks, and boats that I was able to build and edit. I do honestly recommend that you utilize the tutorial section of the garage if you find yourself struggling at all. There's a lot of different menus within the user interface within the garage, and there were some features that I didn't even know existed from the outset. So for me, I found myself having a much better time after learning the ropes of the UI and all the additional menus that allowed for this additional customization. There is a lot to customize in this game, and each one of your creations can be as unique as you want it once you've got a good working understanding of how it works. After letting myself get immersed, I felt like a kid. Honestly, I just let my optimistic creativity run wild, and I built the most ridiculous to the most practical cars that I could think. Arguably, I would say that I had more fun building cars than I did racing them. Now, this is not to say that the gameplay, as far as racing is concerned, is severely lacking. In fact, was quite a lot I found genuinely enjoyable about putting my brand new creations out on the track. Controls are responsive, there's weight behind the gas pedal, and while physics is pretty funky, once you adapt, you get a really good feel for the road, so to speak. There's some differences between the different terrains. Roads do feel a little more grippy than the dirt and grass, and the dirt and grass feels like it's got more traction than open water. But honestly, they're pretty subtle differences, and they're kind of hard to discern in the breakneck speeds that you're racing at throughout the entire game. This is even further accentuated with the boost system. Your vehicle sprouts a pair of rocket boosters and just rockets ahead. I mean, this essentially is activating a warp drive. It's a very, very impactful mechanic in the game, and it can turn the tide of a close race if they're used at the right time. Your boost meter recharges naturally over time, but this can be expedited by running into smaller terrain features or other cars, for that matter, and accumulating more blocks. Now, this is also a really helpful feature in repairing your vehicle should you lose some Legos by crashing into some of the more unforgiving terrain. You don't really slow into turns like you would in a normal racer. Instead, the game really pushes drifting, which is tutorialized early and often, and then further reinforced through about a third of the challenges you complete in the story campaign. It's a fine mechanic, I guess, but its overutilization, coupled with the absolutely ludicrous speeds that you drive at, and essentially no punishment for flying off the actual racing path 80% of the time, makes 2K Drive feel more a bit, how would I put it, like the love child of Mario Kart and F-Zero than an actual car racer. The other issue that I found in competitive racing outside of the racing mechanic themselves is just how flexible your AI competition is. What I mean here is you could be having the worst race of your life for the first 3 laps and still pull out a win. Conversely, if you leapt out to first place early and have yourself a perfect race, those little AI Lego bots will be nipping at your tailpipe every inch of the way. I'm really not sure why 2K designed it this way. Possibly to be more engaging for the much younger or inexperienced audience to compensate for the really fast and loose mechanics that can send you shooting off a mile in the wrong direction if you drift too long or you cut your quick turn a second too early. If I'm honest, everything feels really frantic and chaotic at times, and when the race is over, you actually surprised to see that little number 1 show up on the screen, while your little Lego avatar does his little victory dance. It's exciting at first, but ultimately it wears thin the longer you play. If you're looking to just complete the main storyline, you've got about 6 to 8 hours of content there, and it spans across 4 different regions. Now, these regions are really a bright spot in the game. They're all unique in their own way, and they're exciting in the way that they're populated. There's the ample amount of Lego whimsy. There's no other way to put it. And they feel really fleshed out. There's so much attention to detail. Now, I won't go into the detail of specifics of what each world is, to avoid spoilers, but I can tell you that they all shine individually, and all together they make a nice leveled progression through the main storyline. Everywhere you look as you zoom from each zone, you'll notice attention to detail and polish, a general feeling of immersion that really does suck you into this blocky little world. I felt transported more than once, and it's difficult for me to do in a less than realistic racer. There are quests and tasks and random Lego people along the way who will offer their thoughts. It does fill the world and give you a sense of purpose. Now, I can say that this does help compensate for a really basic and honestly almost a lazily constructed primary plot line. You are the next and up-and-coming hotshot racer who has simultaneously drawn the admiration of the kindly old hand former champ and the ire of the overtly evil antagonist current champ simply for being there. The game tries to own this as a joke, but honestly, it kind of falls flat. Now, this ties in to my other major criticism as far as narrative is concerned within the game, and that is inconsistent writing. I'm no stranger to Lego humor, and given that I've been brushing up on my dad jokes for a better part of 3 years, I was actually really looking forward to another Lego installment. But something just felt lacking. It was close at times because I'd find myself chortling here and there at an offhand comment from one of the commentators, or just an interaction with any one of the Lego NPCs who just hit my funny bone right. But consistency, it just wasn't there, and at the end it felt lacking. It just missed the mark for me. If that wasn't your experience, or if it was, let me know in the comments below. I'd really like to know what your feeling was of the game if you've completed the primary storyline. And I mean, the voice acting was all right. Honestly, it was nothing to write home about. And it's a shame that nothing to write home about, it kind of sums up the entire story and narrative experience, because the world itself is just so vibrant and immersive. Unfortunately, we do have to wrap things up on a pretty negative note. Lego 2K Drive has microtransactions. There's no way around it. Unky's Emporium is available to all linked online accounts, a store that deals in vehicle and player skins as well as various packs. Items are paid for with cash, a currency that you pick up in gameplay, but you can buy gold with real-world money, which you convert into bucks to make purchases. If you've got a linked payment card on your console, it is remarkably easy to buy gold. To test things out, I simply picked a car that I couldn't afford with the cash that I had. And after trying to purchase the car, the game said, "Hey, you don't have enough." And it immediately brought me to the "Would you like to buy some gold?" menu. And from there, I had one other press of X. I chose the $9.99 for 1100 gold option, pressed X again. I was brought to my PS5 menu to confirm the transaction, and one more press of the good old X button, and the transaction went through. I got the email, and from there, I converted the gold to bucks and bought my $14,000 chicken food truck. Now, honestly, there's no reason for this to exist in a game that already costs $60 to $120, depending on which edition you purchase. And the fact that this is a game that is marketed largely to a very young crowd, honestly, I just feel like it's capitalizing on impressionable players who have largely no concept of real-world money versus in-game money. And it's a definite red flag for me. So the question is it worth a go at the current price? Yes, but I'd go slow, and I'd make sure that this is the style of game that you're really interested in. If you're into hyper chaotic ADHD style kart racing, or you can get your investment back in the garage building all the cars that you dreamed about as a kid, then sure, it's worth a pickup of it around 60 bucks. But if you can wait till a sale, then it would be a larger, stronger recommendation for me. I enjoyed the campaign well enough, but was bored at times with the story progression. The fast, gripping races, the gorgeous open worlds, and the intricate build features impressed me enough to carry me through to the end of the campaign. But, I mean, those are my thoughts. What are yours? I'd love to discuss your experiences in the comments below. If you enjoy this kind of content, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really means a lot, and it lets me know that I'm on the right track for growth, both of the channel and our community. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch. I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next one.